Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello. Nothing beats waking up to the smell of lovely coffee.
Yeah.
This is great stuff.
I'm getting it from there.
How are you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing.
I love your orange outfit.
Thank you. I know it's your favorite color. So I wanted to be on your good side today by wearing your favorite color, you know.
What's up?
Go by try.
What do you need? Yes, you're
I don't need anything.
Just announce that thing that you mentioned. So that
Which
they know
thing did I
They should start
mention
claim Mariah's wardrobe.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to mention it. Listen,
Yeah.
yesterday I mentioned that I give out my wardrobe, my stuff. I do, but I don't give it out to
People
I
you
have
don't
people,
know.
yeah, people I don't know. I know people, my inner caucus people, like
Yes,
my,
no, that's how charity
those ones who
should
are
be.
close to me that I know. I give them, I'm comfortable. And I take it to church or take it to the NGOs. That's what I do. I got so many messages yesterday saying, they're close. I'm like, hey, people, this is
Yeah, I'm
Nigeria.
even wary of giving to people I don't know because they say charity begins at home. I
home,
can't
yes.
be doing good for outsiders when people around me
Let me
are
talk for both
need something.
for
I'm
and
not giving
against.
to
So there's nothing wrong giving those you don't know, because if you give to charity, to eventually get to those you don't know.
yeah.
But it's proper that charity starts closer to you. So you cannot leave those under you who need and go far. So those you guys start from closer to me.
So I give those that are closest to me that I know that I need before I start getting. So I do apologize that but we'll see how it
You
goes.
may not.
How are you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing. I think I'll be resting this weekend. There's so much to do, so much to do. I'm starting my master's soon, so I need to put my house in order.
Again.
And you know, I don't know. I just want to rest this weekend. Yeah, just
It's
rest.
fun. Schooling can be very stressful, but
I'm
you know
already
what?
scared.
Don't mind Mariah, she's
When you're
halfway
talking about
through.
your dissertation, I'm
She's
like,
already
now wow, you know.
But it's good. It's a good thing to do because honestly, it helps you, broadens your mind.
Yeah.
The way I'm thinking now is because I have really, really immersed myself in certain academics and it's helping me to open my mind to other options. How you doing? Elijah, Nima, Akasha, Zibiri.
Full of life and positive. Because
thank
you know, the New Zealand murder, the Christchurch shooting, that murderer has been sentenced to life without parole.
That's one that killed
all the 51 Muslims
yes,
in the mosque, including a baby. A 4-year-old or 4-month-old baby was shot in the mosque. So he's been sentenced. I think that's the highest of their capital punishment in New Zealand, but it was given the worst that they could give, the system could give.
They didn't have death sentence.
Yes, and I think America should learn from this. So a murder is a murder. The system should be balanced. I like the way the entire New Zealand, I must commend the country, stood up for the people, for the lives that matter. You know, and other countries should learn from that. We should stop to take, put some sentiments in front of crime like that. I personally didn't want to talk about it when it happened.
Talking about
hoping
lives
that, the
that
judgment
matter.
would...
I mean, I still worry that we Africans, we're not doing so much in support of African Americans in the U.S. and the struggles, all the killings happening. We are quiet and we're just we're moving on like nothing is happening. But the truth is that many of them are scared of the kind of situation where a policeman can actually just shoot somebody 7 times. And unfortunately, the law protects the police also in this kind of situation.
So there's a new video of a shooting in America.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I was watching it. I didn't know my daughter was right behind me. So she was, no, what else? I said, that's in America. And then the first thing, she said, my cousin. They said, but I said, okay, if we can bring her, we'll bring her. But, we must just let's pray and, make sure that she knows that our hearts, we're praying for them or with them and hope that the system changes.
Yeah.
But I had to now start to learn how to talk to her about it. I didn't plan ever talking to her now at the age of 7 about it.
America is wearing a whole different color these days. And you're scared for family, your loved ones, your friends. And I think it's yourself.
Sons growing up
People are going there for the university studies. So honestly, our hearts are with them. We just pray, Nigerians, stay safe and stay out of trouble and let these guys
stay
just...
out of trouble.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's about it for us, our banter. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I love coffee, eh? Okay, today we're starting with Daily Times.
Yes, sir.
In the interest of our friend. Daily Times, all set for reopening of Enugu Airport Terminal building and others. Labour, NLC threatens to tackle infraction on workers' rights. FEC, they approved appointment of field experts for forensic audit of NDDC. And there's an editorial, The Spectre of a Police State. Interesting article. Let's start with the major headline, Enugu Airport.
Yes, the major headline. So, you know, the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, is about to be reopened. The date that was given by the aviation minister was 29th of August, which is next tomorrow. And initially it was supposed to be reopened for 2019, December 2019, but then they had to move it to April, and then the COVID-19 lockdown affected everything. But some persons are saying that work is still ongoing at the airports. They're still working on the terminal, they're still working on the entrance. So they do not know if that will likely, you know, distort the opening that's supposed to have on the 29th. But so far, the aviation minister hasn't said anything, so we are looking forward to the 29th.
Okay. Moving on now to The Nation. Amotekun won't be under IG, says Akeredolu and Makinde. Southwest states reject proposal to put security outfits on the police. Picture here of the serial killer, Sunday Shodikpe, in Oyo, he rearrested. And it says, I killed a woman after my escape. FEC okays forensic auditing for 12,000 NDDC projects. NBA 2020 AGC, Tony Blair joins the conference. They had 24,000 lawyers participating. And broadcasting code not imposed, says NBC DG, that's Mr. Idachaba. Okay.
Major headline.
Yes, major headline, go ahead.
So, you know, the president's spokesperson, Garba Show, was saying that, you know, the federal government has proposed a community policing.
Yes.
And, you know, the president has endorsed that with about 13 billion naira votes. And they are planning to bring the Amotekun arrangement in the Southwest under that community policing. And, you know, whatever name they are called, they have to conform under that. You know, he was very kind of, you know, insensitive to what they had gone through before they arrived at that decision to have Amotekun in the Southwest. And that provoked the reactions of the governor of Ondo State and Oyo State. And they responded and said, it's not possible, that's not going to happen. The Amotekun was formed under laws validly passed by the Houses of Assembly.
Exactly.
And that, you know, they would not be brought under that.
Okay, this serial killer, Shodikpe, yes.
So Sunday Shodikpe, who is Ibadan serial killer, and he escaped from custody recently, has been rearrested by the Commissioner of Police, and he's confessed that he killed a lady 2 days after he escaped custody. That what happened was the native doctor who was actually advising him told him that he should kill more people so that the ritual, whatever is going to happen to the ritual, so it doesn't have dire consequences, and so he had to do that. But the policeman who was involved in letting him run away, you know, is in custody at the moment, and investigations.
I'm worried that this young man does not have schizophrenia where he hears voices, because the Babalao, when he was picked up, you know, denied him completely. Wow. Yes.
Okay, I was going to mention that Armstrong Dachaba, DG, NBC, was saying that he didn't impose the code on anybody, that because there was an assertion last week that it was the Honorable Minister of Information that single-handedly decided on what we have in the code today. And he said, no, that's not, that all stakeholders were involved in the passage of that new code. Moving on very quickly now to The Punch. FG 774,000 on skilled 20,000 naira jobs. 4 PhD, 200 masters holders apply. Senate tackles Keyamo again on slots. Church rape, police parade unit bans students suspected killers. Pandemonium as task force transport workers clash in Lagos. And we'll fight states hiding behind COVID-19 to sack workers, says NLC. Which stories are we taking?
I wanted to take the major headline. Yes, so the spokesperson for the Nigerian the Senate, you know, has attacked Bashir has attacked Festus Keyamo, saying that, you know, that 30 slots allegation he's made about them getting about 30 slots per constituency is wrong, per state is wrong, and that he should not, you know, blackmail them with that. But the other side of the news is the Ogun State representative saying that about 4 PhD holders, 200 master's degree holders also applied for this temporary 3 months 20,000 per month job, you know. Oh, wow. And I'm wondering what is wrong with the minds of our people, because we are not looking towards things that are sustainable. We need food in this country. We need to, you know, to find ways to farm and find ways to market that. If you have for a PhD, you should be creating jobs as well. The other news is the UWA, of the Benin girl. So 4 people, six people have been picked up in Edo State related, in connection with that murder. And the police commissioner for police in Edo State is insisting that that justice must be done. That all facts showed. Post-autopsy showed that she was actually raped.
Yeah. Yes. So do you have the names? You want to say? Oh.
No, go ahead. I didn't have the names. I wanted to take, are we still on this?
Okay, I was going to take the names. The suspects are Nelson Ogbebo, Akato Valentine, Mrs. Tina Samuel, Mrs. Mary Ade, Nosa Osahobie, and Collins Ulugbe.
So women were involved in this.
That's why I wanted to read that story.
It's painful.
Okay,
so yes, the story, we have the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Enforcement Agency and transport workers got into a clash around Ablegba and Agege axis. So what happened was that the bus driver who took a wrong turn, and then the task force officials decided to chase him. Then his boy, the motorboy, those boys that hang when the buses are going, fell off. And according to the story, they said he got injured and died. But the police is saying that nobody died so far. But then they came back for a reprisal attack. So the bus driver and some other guys came to fight the task force. So it was a lot of shooting and, clash, that happened there. But investigations are ongoing. They are saying so far the boy is not dead. He's actually receiving treatment at the hospital. So I hope.
Okay, moving on to Daily Sun. Buhari to judiciary. Criminal cases must not last more than 12 months. Nigeria's negative economic growth, not so bad, says presidency. Ibano ritual killings, prime suspect confesses killing another woman after escape. Biafra, I feel like backing out of struggle, says Kanu. I forgot to read that story. But go ahead. Which story are we taking? Major, I have the presidency story. But who has the judiciary?
Yes, I do. So the president yesterday, I want to get where he said it. He was giving a speech at
the NBA conference.
Yes, the NBA. Yes. So and he was saying that the judicial system is terribly slow. That it's taking too long for us to get convictions. Imagine him when he contested. He took a petition, and it took him about 2.5 years to get something results for a 4-year mandate. Imagine if he was the legitimate winner, somebody else would have been in that position for a long time. So, but now that things have changed, when he became a respondent, they had about 6 months when Atiku, petitioned him. They had about 6 months to sort out the case. So if we can have that for election tribunal, we should also look into having the same, like giving a time limit, 12 months for criminal cases, 12 to 15 months for civil cases to make things,
Okay, I was going to take the story on the, our presidency has responded saying that our negative economic growth is not so bad. Let me tell you what they said. Listen now, calm down, Nigerians. They said that the overall decline of the negative 6.1% of Q that we're talking about, that actually is better than the projected forecast of negative 7.24%. So they had projected negative 7.2%, but it's better than that. Okay. Secondly, that other countries of the world, that they actually contracted worse than ours. So we have like the US negative 33%, UK negative 20%. So ours is not as bad. In fact, interestingly, we outperformed our projections. So, and because of the various things we've had in place, that's what cushioned the effect of COVID-19, that it's not as bad as Nigerians are thinking. So don't let anybody paint that picture that things are going bad. No, there's no picture of gloom, that we're actually doing better than expected. Okay, so moving on now to Daily Trust. Buhari seeks conclusion of criminal cases in 12 months. We talked about that. Let's find a story we've not taken. NDDC audit to gulp 2.5 billion naira as FG hires 8 auditors with 722 million naira. NERC discos must provide meters before increasing tariff. Insecurity, beekeepers move to Kano, Gombe, and Bauchi. I read that story. Beekeepers actually have been, they have a huge plantation in southern Kaduna. Okay. And that's like usually the base for many beekeepers. Many of them are having now to move to different states because of the insecurity. And they've had to, many of them actually abandon the bees and the hives, and now to find new places because they cannot continue to stay in the community that they're likely to lose their lives. Many of their colleagues have died as a result of the insecurity in that region.
I wanted to take Nick. So the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, headed by Professor James Momo, has said that this new tariff hike will not happen until there's proper metering. So under these service-based principles, this coast will only be able to review tariff rate for customers when they consult with customers, commit to increasing the number of hours of supply per day and quality of service. And with this one that he said, my heart is palpitating. Those of us that we have been enjoying quality service under our discourse.
I saw some rates yesterday. I don't even want to mention them.
Okay, that's all we can take. Our former president is still talking on Mali. He's leading the envoy to Mali, and he has given the presidency his feedback on that. They're asking that the
ousted president
be allowed to at least, not reinstatement, they're not even talking about reinstatement, they're asking for proper security. Let that entire region be secured, because now
there's a story in paper
two-thirds of the entire region is now being covered by terrorists. They're taking over. So
the ousted president even
doesn't want to come back.
Yes.
Wow. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, it's Thursday, our gisting day. So many topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So there is this heavy conversation on social media, and when Your View sees it, we too would like to share our thoughts on it about who should be given priority between a husband and a father. According to the story we found online, a lady's husband and her father were arguing. The argument became so heated that the husband turns to the wife and says, "Let's go." Father says, "Stay there." So the question says, who does the wife listen to? Husband says, "Let's go." Father says, "Joko, sit there, ain't going nowhere." Who do you listen to? Please share your views with us. You can call us on 070-8066-8004. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTV. Tweet. Now let's assume the argument has obviously to do with the lady in question.
Okay.
So maybe it's something that happened, and maybe the father was trying to resolve the issue. And when the husband realized that they were not getting anywhere, says, "Auntie, get in the car, let's go." And the father is thinking, you stay here until this thing is resolved. In that kind of situation, it's a bit really
it's not
difficult.
Yeah.
But let me see, who do I go with? Let me start with DPC.
I could start. So for me, when I saw the story, the first thing is definitely my husband. Why would I want? Of course, it's my husband I'll go with. I'm already married. But then I now started thinking about different scenarios that could make them argue. Okay, and one scenario that came to my mind was, what if it was a case of abuse? Let's take, for instance, he's been abusing me, he's been beating me, and they're trying to resolve it. And then maybe at that point I was trying to make a decision. Is either I continue in this marriage or I'm no longer interested in this marriage to save my life. And then he says, "Let's go," and my father says, "Sit down." If it's in that case, I will listen to my father because I'm trying to save my life. But if it's just like a general argument, because I'm from a family where everybody argues. They argue a lot. My father-in-law is a lawyer. We have lawyers everywhere. And then when conversations happen like this, you see people, okay, let me even give you a typical example. So my traditional marriage, it was a serious one. Father-in-law was arguing on one corner, daddy was arguing on the other corner, everybody. And I was inside crying. People had eaten.
What was the issue?
They had not collected bride price. I don't know what happened though. I said whether the list was not complete or something. I was just indoors and my friends were pacifying me. "Hey, what do you do?" and everything. I started shouting from inside, "If this man goes, I'm going with him." One of the reasons I wanted to go with him was the fact that I had already done my court marriage. I had my certificate. I'm legally married. The diary was for me to, as a daughter of the soil, to respect my parents. So if you're telling him to walk away because one list was not complete, I will follow him. I have a certificate. I'm married already. It's not like I'm selling myself to him. So in that case, you now think, what do I stand to gain? Who do I stand to... if I stay with this person, would it be of my interest? Would it be better for me to sit with this person or go with that person?
Okay,
so in those situations,
there are situations where when you ask yourself that question, that in whose interest am I doing this? Mine or theirs or his? And usually the answer is that, okay, what's best for me? And it's always difficult for a woman to make that decision in that kind of heated moment. Because your father will work in your interest, no matter he's your father. You know your husband also loves you. He might have other interests also. So a woman can be torn apart in making that decision at that moment. But let's just put yourself in that woman's shoes for a second, Nima, where it's about your own interest. It's about, let's use an abuse, for example, or something. Maybe the husband has done something to hurt you repeatedly, and you brought your father involved, and you know your husband loves you, and right now he says, let's go. But daddy says, if we walk out of this place, I will not get involved in this matter.
I disown you.
What would you do?
So let me just go back to my own nikah as well. I remember my nikah, my dad was in support of my husband, and my mom was like, I don't want her to go yet, or let's do the walima before she goes. And I looked at my husband and said, see you later. It was as simple as that. So I always put my family, honor and all that, because I learned early in life, myself and my best friend Eniola were about 18, and when we witnessed something happen, and we're both saying to ourselves that if a man cannot honor our families, we'll not marry him. It means meeting the terms and conditions family give him when it comes to marrying us. Myself and Eniola decided then, as young girls. So I just never saw it beyond that. I always just saw it that if a man has a problem obeying the rules my father has given him as regards me, nothing else. And I've seen my father defend his sisters, defend his sisters against domestic violence. So, I have that kind of reassurance. If the worst happen, this person got me, that kind of thing. So there's really nothing. And my husband, fortunately for him, knew that arrangement and knew to win my father to his side quickly. So that when he's talking, he'll be saying, tell her, because I will not even reason with him at that time until I'll give you this.
There's a biblical injunction that says that you live to cleave. Christians, we get it all the time. I don't know. They tell us, you live to cleave. That once you have gone, you're gone. That's
He's the man now.
No.
Okay, the Bible says it's the man that the Bible is talking.
But the point I'm trying to make is that
literally
the point I'm trying to make is that there's an assumption that once you leave your family and both of you become one flesh, you have no business going back.
In fact, it's even stronger in Islam. As soon as you're married, the man takes over. He's communal and inside, so he becomes the head. He becomes the leader. But what I used to apply is that everybody fights for paradise, which is the ultimate purpose of life of a Muslim, is to earn the hereafter while living. And the Prophet continually tied it to the mother. So he's kind of still at home here. So my husband must win by honoring his own mother, and I must honor mine. The marriage did not say dishonor yours immediately you marry. Some people try to mix it up. So I've seen sisters where they are married, and the husband will say, you can't visit your family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're married to me. And I used to just say, if I'm in that situation, marriage, null and void. I used to just say it so clearly that, my husband will not even want, those are not things I would want to test. Because don't put me in that situation where I'm looking at my family and I'm wondering, am I doing the right thing? You will be the wrong thing at that time. Let there be this, ease of doing things.
So it depends on, now.
Please, let me pause you for a second. Paula's been holding. Paula, are you there? Oh, Juliet, thanks for calling. Are you there?
Hello?
Juliet, you're live. Go ahead,
morning.
please. Morning.
This is Juliet. I was calling from Kano. I'm calling from Lagos now.
Okay. Welcome. In Lagos. Okay.
Good morning, Obiaju.
Good morning.
Nima.
Good morning.
Yeah, from the topic I am listening to, if I were the person, I would listen to my father, because the reason why I said so is, my husband that walks out of my father will also walk out of his father.
Yes.
So at least we should at least show some respect to our elders. Yes. No matter the situation, anger cannot solve any problem. So I will ask my husband to please calm down. Let's listen to him first.
Interesting perspective, Juliet. Bisa, you're going to respond.
Yes, so I wanted to say that I don't know how to use it. So we have the normal, ideal family, which you have just represented. And we have the not so ideal, maybe like a dysfunctional family, where that the family members put their own personal interests first before, and even the parents put their own personal gains and materialism first before even their children. Now, if you grew up in such an environment, you will be, it will be better for you to know what you want on time at a very early age, or else people will, tell you things that will make you end up where you do not want to end up, things that will not be beneficial to you. At the end of the day, they will leave you on your own, because that's how the family operates. So it's not the normal family. In such a case, you need to listen to what what's in it for you, and not just what the parent is saying. So let me give you a scenario. I have a friend whose parents on her wedding day told her this wedding will not hold. For whatever reason, they had a disagreement, and then they got upset, and they didn't care how much the man had invested, how they have been together all the years. And thankfully, she listened to herself, knowing where she came from, that these people do not have my interest. By the time he goes, I'm back home, they will taunt me, they will push me out, they don't even care. And she followed her heart, and today she's better for it. They came back to apologize. Now imagine if she had listened. Okay. So in that situation, you need to know
I have a similar story there, but let me take this call first. Olumide, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, please.
Right. So I actually agree with BC on this topic. So it could be quite subjective to a lot of factors. But then, straight-jacketed, the case of spouse versus parent, because the laws of marriage have been is going to apply here. The spouse actually takes precedence, but then it's not all cases. It's not in all cases because the matter in question needs to be analyzed. If the spouse's life is in danger, then the parents should always do what is right for the child, for the spouse. But then, if we need to apply the rules of marriage, the spouse takes precedence over the parent.
I hate to apply that rule strictly based on what I have experienced. So I have seen clients who's been to my office, and the basis of quarrel is that I don't want my wife to continue to have relationship with her family. So even if the family was dysfunctional, your role as a spouse is to honor those who birthed your spouse in the first place. A lot of women in Africa put up with in-laws that are terrible because of their husbands, but you'll find the other way around. The men who want to play the same role. So yes, let your wife come from, let her father be, demanding, let her mother be this. It is not in your place. It is in her place as a daughter of that family to correct her family. And as long as she's not ready to say that, you can continue to have that conversation with her, not directly with her family. Don't jump in defense. Because I saw that this particular case, and we're in divorce right now. All he wanted was, battles that have happened that you know nothing about, was to inherit it. Put your wife against her family continuously. And I found out recently that the role of this particular person is to unite that family. She was called to resolve all those issues. Rather than help her, achieve that which she was destined to do. Which, the entire family sees her, they've seen her do as a child. Everybody, when they are dysfunctional and arguing and everything, the rallying point is when she says, everybody calm down. And she's missing at meetings, she's missing at family gatherings because you don't want her to be in that family. I want to give you this example because I know of a story that I was told. A woman, they've been dating for a while. She was born a Muslim. Then she became a Christian, and she now married in church. So she was marrying a minister. So they were really close together. And they dated, they courted for a while, and they were ready to get married. And her family said, I'm not against your Christianity, but this marriage must be nikai, because I birthed you as a Muslim. So when you do your nikai, you can now go and do your Christian. And that was what happened. She now insisted that no, her husband, her fiancé insisted, no, it has to be a church wedding. And that's what caused the fight. She wanted to honor her father and have the nikai. But it had an issue with the church. Today, the man left. Unfortunately, she lost that opportunity with to do a church wedding. And then she never got married. Wow. That man never loved her. So there are different ways we look at this. So she was honoring her family. Like, listen, I accept the nikai. In my own side of family, in Babin, that's my family in Lokoja, we have a wife who is from Ondo. She's Christian to the core. Okay. Christian to the core. When she converted to Islam and married into the family, one of the rules of Islam that was promoted to her was honor her family. So the family, and these people, my people, I'm sure they're watching, they're like a village. They followed in their numbers to go and beg for her hand. Even when the father, all of them, Baba, we cannot take this girl without you permitting it. Whereas some people would have encouraged, leave him there, is it the one feeding you? This was a dysfunctional family. Right. But this particular right, the man decided to. Okay, let me go on a quick break. Right. When we come back, I know we had Williams from Zamfara. Please try to call back. I lost that call. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this matter, and we're saying that when the woman gets to that T-junction between honoring your father and then your husband or your husband-to-be, which one do you go with? So Bisi is going to answer
so
that.
that's that analogy you made now was it got me thinking, because I've realized that when it comes to I'm a new parent. When it comes to parenting, what I see, which most people didn't get, is the fact that the love from the parents is supposed to be unconditional, and that means that in certain situations you may have to likely swallow your pride, keep your honor aside just to make your children happy. At the end of the day, it's their life. So in that case where this one is insisting you must marry as a Muslim, another person is insisting you must marry in church, I think it doesn't do well for the children at the end of the day, because that particular lady now couldn't even get somebody else to marry her. At the end of the day, she's still home, and she's lost that opportunity because nobody could agree on where to do the wedding. Forgetting that the wedding is just a ceremony, an event that will go and it's over. We've forgotten. The people that ate in my wedding, they won't even remember what they ate today. It's past. But then the life forward is what we should be looking at. So as a parent, I think we need to do more in supporting. So I know that you have your strong...
But the Bible says honor your family. So you as a parent, it's important that your child would honor you,
but
decisions.
Not when you are insisting that this is the way you must go. You are forgetting that you're talking to an adult. Even if that person is your child, the person can make her own choices. The person is an adult already, a full-blown spirit. So you can't, say it must be this way, or else some will go to the extent of I disown you or I curse you if you go the other way. I think it's wrong. Let's just find that balance.
It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You love a lady and you want to be with her. You give what is right.
What is required.
Yes, you give whatever is required. If by the time she comes into your house, it's a different arrangement entirely. And for some, it's still the same arrangement. But when she comes into your house, I've seen men say to the time, stay up, marry your father now. I think we should discontinue this habit. By the time our father says, I want this and that, except he's asking you for a life. If it's something you can meet it. If it's something you can meet, negotiate it. But don't ask her that outright. I beg, go and slap your father and come home. Eventually, that man will slap you. You will not have a place to go back to.
Okay, let me take this call from Henry. Henry, are you there from Oshogbo? Oh, please try to call back. So let's look for some tweets. Now, so we're back to that issue, depending on the situation that you're in. But many people have found out that even when you try to honor your parents sometimes, and you go according to what your father wants, it's difficult for you to reconcile that with your husband. You might forgive the fact, okay, you accepted your husband, your family, no problem, and you reconcile. But you know how men can be. They will continue the rest of their life. They're going to be rubbing it on that. That's how the other day, you went out, you did not listen to me. So as a woman, you're like, you're going to pay for that forever and ever. Women go through that.
Yes,
I remembered when I had to do bed rest in the hospital, and my husband and myself were like, you have to stay on the bed. I said, okay, I've heard you. And I was just confused, and my parents just made one phone call. I kept saying I was fine. I didn't want to let them know I was in the hospital. I think my sister or someone then told my mom, and she was like, so my daughter will be in the hospital, and her daughter will be at home with who? I was like, I'll keep her, I'll manage her. There's someone I'll keep her with. My mother just went there, said, give me this girl. And there was this little argument, and he said to my mom, he said, I know this will make Nima happy. This will honor her, and that's the only reason I'm letting you people take my daughter. They took her for 6 months. If he wanted to go back and forth arguing, I won't stay in that hospital. And in fact, number one, I won't even have the peace of mind to stay. So you know your spouse, you make it work. And today, to do things for him is just effortless for me. To put up with things for him is effortless because I've seen him do it. You know, people must know, except you are not ready for the relationship, and it's not one-sided. It's both ways. The woman too, you must love her. Not that the woman must love you. This whole mentality of, hey, I'm the man, I'm the clinical, I must do for her so that she would reciprocate easily.
Let me take this call from Bauchi. Chinwe, are you there? Oh, what's going on with our lines today? Please call these people back.
For me, sometimes it's not that easy, to just say, I'll take this side, I'll take that side. I understand that when you're married, your next head now becomes your husband and not your parents. So you have left that scenario and you are now trying to build a new nation for yourself. And it's very important that you have an understanding of how things work, because I know that there are some parents who still want to control what happens in your house and how your husband handles things. And, you know, no man wants to have in-laws telling him what to do or how he should live. And we have parents like that. So if you're in that situation where you have a parent like that who wants to, and then the next thing they blackmail you that you're not honoring me, what do you do in that situation? I think for me, it's to, you know, go with what your husband has said. You people can, what I do for my own cases, we talk about it in the bedroom. We agree on a stand.
Bedroom advocacy.
Yes, we agree on a stand. I and my husband will say, okay, we're taking this stand. So when we go and meet mommy and daddy, this is where we will stand. And then we start finding ways to bring two of them to understand that two of us agree on this. This is how we want it. I start lobbying this person, he starts lobbying the other person till we come to a round table. So you just find a way to.
All right, let me take this call from Caleb, then we'll take a few tweets and wrap up on this. Caleb, are you there? Caleb, are you there? What's going on with our phone line? Should we start mentioning the
network? So Ibrahim says, as a Muslim, if I were the father, I would not put my daughter in that situation. If I were the husband, I would not allow my wife to obey her father. Or this, I'm sure he meant this because either way the wife wins.
Okay.
Biliki says, so true. People shouldn't get it wrong that marriage nullifies the ties with family. Islam clearly states the position of the husband and established that of the parents. And in the case, family would trump over the married. A man shouldn't make his wife choose. Okay. And this one replies me, based on the religion of Muslim, a legally married woman needs to seek the permission of her husband before she can honor the call of her own parents. Or that husband.
I have to run, unfortunately, run out of time. Let's go on a break now. Come back, stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this matter, and we're saying that when the woman gets to that T-junction between honoring your father and then your husband, or your husband-to-be, which one do you go with? So Bisi is going to answer
that.
Story,
that analogy you made now was, it got me thinking, because I've realized that when it comes to, I'm a new parent, when it comes to parenting, what I see, which most people didn't get, is the fact that the love from the parents is supposed to be unconditional. And that means that in certain situations, you may have to likely swallow your pride, keep your honor aside just to make your children happy. At the end of the day, it's their life. So in that case where this one is insisting you must marry as a Muslim, another person is insisting you must marry in church, I think it doesn't do well for the children at the end of the day, because that particular lady now couldn't even get somebody else to marry her. At the end of the day, she's still home, and she's lost that opportunity because nobody could agree on where to do the wedding. Forgetting that the wedding is just a ceremony, an event that will go and it's over. We've forgotten. The people that ate in my wedding, they won't even remember what they ate today. It's past. But then the life forward is what we should be looking at. So as a parent, I think we need to do more in supporting. So I know that you have your strong...
But the Bible says honor your family. So you as a parent, it's important that your child would honor you,
but
decisions.
Not when you are insisting that this is the way you must go. You are forgetting that you're talking to an adult. Even if that person is your child, the person can make her own choices. The person is an adult already, a full-blown spirit. So you can't, say it must be this way, or else some will go to the extent of I disown you or I curse you if you go the other way. I think it's wrong. Let's just find that balance.
It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You love a lady and you want to be with her. You give what is right.
What is required.
Yes, you give whatever is required. If by the time she comes into your house, it's a different arrangement entirely. And for some, it's still the same arrangement. But when she comes into your house, I've seen men say to the time, stay up, marry your father now. I think we should discontinue this habit. By the time our father says, I want this and that, except he's asking you for a life. If it's something you can meet it. If it's something you can meet, negotiate it. But don't ask her that outright. I beg, go and slap your father and come home. Eventually, that man will slap you. You will not have a place to go back to.
Okay, let me take this call from Henry. Henry, are you there from Oshogo? Oh, please try to call back. So let's look for some tweets. Now, so we're back to that issue, depending on the situation that you're in. But many people have found out that even when you try to honor your parents sometimes, and you go according to what your father wants, it's difficult for you to reconcile that with your husband. You might forgive the fact, okay, you accepted your husband, your family, no problem, and you reconcile. But you know how men can be. They will continue for the rest of your life. They're going to be rubbing it on that. That's how the other day, you know, you went out, you did not listen to me. Yeah. So as a woman, you're like, you're going to pay for that forever and ever. Forever and Women go through that.
Yes,
I remembered when I had to do bed rest in the hospital, and my husband and myself were like, you have to stay on the bed. I said, okay, I've heard you. And I was just confused, and my parents just made one phone call. I kept saying I was fine. I didn't want to let them know I was in the hospital. I think my sister or someone then told my mom, and she was like, so my daughter will be in the hospital, and her daughter will be at home with who? I was like, I'll keep her, I'll manage her. There's someone I'll keep her with. My mother just went there, said, give me this girl. And there was this little argument, and he said to my mom, he said, I know this will make Nima happy. This will honor her, and that's the only reason I'm letting you people take my daughter. They took her for 6 months. If he wanted to go back and forth arguing, I won't stay in that hospital. And in fact, number one, I won't even have the peace of mind to stay. So you know your spouse, you make it work. And today, to do things for him is just effortless for me. To put up with things for him is effortless because I've seen him do it. You know, people must know, except you are not ready for the relationship, and it's not one-sided. It's both ways. The woman too, you must love her. Okay. Not that the woman must love you. This whole mentality of, hey, I'm the man, I'm the clinical, I must do for her so that she would reciprocate easily.
Let me take this call from Bauchi. Chinwe, are you there? Oh, what's going on with our phone lines today? Please call these people back.
For me, sometimes it's not that easy, you know, to just say, I'll take this side, I'll take that side. I understand that when you're married, your next head now becomes your husband and not your parents. So you have left that scenario and you are now trying to build a new nation for yourself. And it's very important that you have an understanding of how things work, because I know that there are some parents who still want to control what happens in your house and how your husband handles things. And, you know, no man wants to have in-laws telling him what to do or how he should live. And we have parents like that. So if you're in that situation where you have a parent like that who wants to, and then the next thing they blackmail you that you're not honoring me, what do you do in that situation? I think for me, it's to, you know, go with what your husband has said. You people can, what I do for my own cases, we talk about it in the bedroom. We agree on a stand.
Bedroom advocacy.
Yes, we agree on a stand. I and my husband will say, okay, we're taking this stand. So when we go and meet mommy and daddy, this is where we will stand. And then we start finding ways to bring two of them to understand that two of us agree on this. This is how we want it. I start lobbying this person, he starts lobbying the other person till we come to a round table. So you just find a way to.
All right, let me take this call from Caleb, then we'll take a few tweets and wrap up on this. Caleb, are you there? Caleb, are you there? What's going on with our phone line? Should we start mentioning the networks?
So Ibrahim says, as a Muslim, if I were the father, I would not put my daughter in that situation. If I were the husband, I would not allow my wife to obey her father. Or this, I'm sure he meant this because either way the wife wins.
Okay.
Biliki says, so true. People shouldn't get it wrong that marriage nullifies the ties with family. Islam clearly states the position of the husband and established that of the parents. And in the case, family would trump over the marriage. A man shouldn't make his wife choose. Okay. And this one replies me, based on the religion of Muslim, a legally married woman needs to seek the permission of her husband before she can honor the call of her own parents. Or that husband.
I have to run, unfortunately, run out of time. Let's go on a break now. Come back, stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to wrap up on our previous topic. Let's take a few tweets and then run up.
So the last tweet I took, based on Islamic religion, a legally married woman needs the permission of her husband before she can honor the call of her own parents or that of her husband's relative. I can't talk of other religion. That's true. But that doesn't give anybody the right to dishonor. So your parents can't be sick or dying, and your husband is blindly stubborn to you visiting them or being with them. Right. And in Islam, what it says is that when he thinks it's not in your best interest to travel, he replaces and goes on your behalf. So it's not like, there's no rule, there's no blanket rule for that. I see a lot of people, you know, push it out and abuse it or say to the woman, Kukuma marry your dad or those kind of things. Don't put anybody in that position to be forced to disrespect the people they love.
If you tweet, please. Toby Martin says, if you put your spouse first, your marriage will last a lifetime. If you want your marriage to last, your lifetime, give it the attention and effort it deserves. When your kids leave, your spouse is the one who is left. And Bilikis Mafe says, have you seen Tyler Perry's Acrimony? That was an example of a confused woman who didn't know where to place her priority. Follow the siblings' decision on her husband and see what it cost her in the end.
Okay. So I guess, how do we wrap up this? So I guess everything depends on the situation you find yourself in.
Yes.
So if you come from a decent family, obviously you'd want to honor your parents because that's how you grew up in.
Yes.
But sometimes depends on how the experience you're going through at that moment. You decide to go with your husband or your father or family. It's your decision.
Even from a
put your
dysfunctional
own
family,
interest.
Yes.
it's okay to honor your parents, but as long as it doesn't go against what you believe
So
in.
put your interest first.
Yeah.
What works for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to another topic. It's becoming a norm now for people to celebrate divorce.
Yay.
Some religions, especially Christianity and Islam, believe that marriage is for better, for worse. But things have gone modern now, so that people are now beginning to say, you know what, I'm done. There was a post that went viral. It says, I did, I'm done.
Hey, I saw it.
Yeah. So we're saying, okay, now that there are throwing parties for divorce, is this now the new normal? What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTV. This is what we can tweet. Okay, so I honestly, I didn't find it surprising, but I was surprised a lot of people were really worried because the comments, people are now thinking, why is everybody celebrating divorce? And I mean, as much as we know it's important for you to stay married, but there are factors that would make somebody say, you know what, I'm done. But is it a cause for celebration is the question.
Well, I do.
Yeah, I looked at it like that, jokingly though, because this is not something I would take serious, that maybe you've taken that part of that first marriage or whatever part of your life as a school that you're graduating from, depending on what you think you've learned, and decided to throw a graduation party. Because I don't see how, I've seen divorces, I don't think divorces are things to enjoy. They're not things that you'd celebrate. Except maybe you didn't have children or something, because there's no how that part of your life or breaking away from it will not hurt a part of you. If you have kids in that marriage, it will certainly hurt them that, you're leaving their father. But I've also seen kids telling their parents that, why don't you leave this partner? What are we doing here? A child once asked their mom and said, why in the whole of the world you chose father that you were born us for? Is this father?
Is this man?
Every day we're carrying him from bars, that you did not choose and blame their mother.
Divorces, shouldn't she be celebrating?
Celebrate.
I still think.
Is it so? The question is it once you divorce, is it time for a sober reflection or is it time to celebrate? That's really the question.
Yeah, for me, who defines what you do when it goes bad? So we've put a lot of pressure on people who have divorced. We've termed them failures. You were not successful in your marriage. Your mates are still married you. You left the man for whatever reason. And sometimes we don't care. And even when you see that this woman would have even lost her life, you are still preaching to her, God hates divorce. Just stay there, manage it. After all, your mother went through this, your mother went through that. So we've seen all of that. And, people are now standing up. Women are standing up to say now that, okay, for the man, we don't paint them as failures when divorce happens. It's more for the women. And then women are saying that, you don't call me a failure. It takes two to tango.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to work together to make this marriage a success. So if I fail, that means you have failed. We have both failed. And so society should see it that way. And now people are now beginning to celebrate, to say, well, if you think I'm a failure because my marriage didn't work, you are wasting your time and succeeding in other aspects. It just wasn't meant for me, or I haven't seen the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh.
Is that if you then celebrate, what message does that send to other people saying, oh, other people actually trying to work out their marriage? Because when you see more people celebrating it, you wouldn't even put that extra effort
to
in fixing what could be a bit of an issue.
Yes.
But so that's where the comments are coming from.
Yeah, for me, I do not understand the reason for the celebration. And I'm not going to sit here and judge why people celebrate, because I don't know what they have gone through. Some people are celebrating their freedom. After all, they could have been caged for a long time, not allowed to, follow their dreams and their passions and do work, and, So they could be celebrating those aspects. But let's also bear in mind that other people are suffering as a result of that divorce. It could be your parents, it could be your children, it could be your extended family, because marriage in Africa is not just two people. You are married to the whole works.
Oh,
Everybody is involved.
Let me take this call from...
Let's put that into consideration.
Yakub, are you there? Thanks for calling. Good morning, Yakub.
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for calling. You're live.
I barely heard you. I don't know, maybe this network is okay. But I don't know, maybe you hearing me.
Hello? I can hear you.
Very clearly.
Okay, let me try because I couldn't hear you. But Mariah, good morning to you once again, and then good morning to Nima and then Obi.
Good morning.
This topic. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you clearly.
Yeah, this topic, I think, is two ways. You can celebrate a divorce. One, if you find yourself in a relationship whereby you're married to someone that's turning you to a punching bag, and then every morning there is no way he provides for the family, and then he came back from the work or whatever he does, and then because he did not give you money for the food, he did not providing anything for the family, and then he still come back asking for food. And then if you fail to give that kind of a man a food, he's still turning you to a punching bag. At the end of the day, instead of you staying in the marriage, and then along the line you find yourself dying, and then he continues his life. If you walk out of that kind of a marriage, it's a call for celebration. That is that. But if none of all these things happen, and then you walk out and you went ahead and you started celebrating that you walk out of the marriage, God doesn't like that. So that is the two way. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Yakub. So I guess I want us to be very clear on what the bone of contention is, because yes, if you walk out of an abusive relationship or something that is actually not fulfilling for you, and then you're done, and then you celebrate your new life, your new freedom, it's great. But the conversation is, when you do that, if you leave that situation and then go into a mode where you know how our parents are, you divorce you, now stay in your father's house, you're quiet, nobody wants to, you try not to go out there, comport yourself, you don't talk too much, you don't go out, you don't go to parties, you keep quiet. That's what society expects of you. Yes. But the modern day woman is like, no. I'm not going to do that. I am here. But is that sending the wrong message to younger marriages, saying, okay, how do I fix my problem, or do I begin to just walk out and celebrate?
Thank you. I wish we have going on. Because you see, with what we are seeing today, our parents worked at marriages, and they had the successes of it, whether you like it or not. Some people who even had careers. I have aunties that they became professors. The first female professor in my village is from my family. So yes, well, they worked at it. I believe it's a process. If you get divorced, like the circumstances that Yakub painted, you have been abused, you have been this and that. Yes, let people see it that you moved on and you achieved greater. Not that you just throw parties, because one innocent person is sitting somewhere stupidly interpreting what you have done to be the trend. Before you know it, people no longer want to work at it. Already as we are now, people don't want to work at it. A man walked into my office. He's not been maintaining his wife. And he was asking me, he wants to divorce her and do a will so that she will never come close to his property. I was like, how much is... When I was taking his information, I can't take this brief. Please just be going on. On Monday that I resumed, I just opened the office on Monday. As I resumed, the first brief I got was a divorce. People no longer put in the effort. People need to grow, learn, and even me, this is not who I was before. My agility has really, really reduced. I have been loved, I've been pampered, I've learned to love and pamper. The kind of things that my streets are a way to look at things have really changed. So somebody is working at it. Now somebody work, now they see. People should put in the effort and process and celebrate that. So you've made 10 years, you've made 20 years, you've changed, you've given up some things, you've compromised certain things. Let's celebrate that as well. Then when we have a sister who they beat, they try to stop her from achieving her dreams, they locked up, they did all of that, and she's out of it. We will celebrate with her, not throw a party where people will see. Why we're doing this is so that every young girl in the family is empowered to see that, you can leave that and move on and move to greater things. Not promote divorce as in party, because people quickly pick up the wrong things, and I don't want to be
I think people would likely want to start celebrating because they are not seeing people who project their marriage as successful, and that this lies on we women to start saying that marriage is a beautiful thing. Some of us are having a ball being married. What we hear is more of the bad news, because the truth is, even when you say the good news, they will say it's a lie. So you will keep quiet. I will be balling in my house quietly, and when I come, everybody's complaining, marriage is this, and I will join them and complain because I don't want them to put eye in my marriage. But I think we should come out of that. Let us celebrate marriage. The ones who are having beautiful marriages, put it out there. My marriage is beautiful. You know, this you can actually have this. You can walk through this. Others. Share your stories of how you have struggled in the marriage, and you're working. I struggle every day in my marriage, and I'm working it out with my husband. We have conversations. Sometimes I won't talk to him. It happens. It's normal. But we are growing together. Show people so that they will be interested in getting into marriage and making it work.
Thank you for taking more than, because the other time I found somebody was asking me, we're having a conversation with some people, and they was, this marriage thing is not easy. Honestly, the kind of marriages that people are having issues. There's so many people are having issues in their marriage. And I found myself saying, it's true.
You see?
It's not easy.
You see yourself?
And I was after, I was hearing myself, and I went back and went, so it's not easy. Sorry, what's your problem?
Tell me your story.
Because it has become autopilot. Those of you that are having a good marriage, you keep quiet. It's not easy.
So that they don't judge you and say you are lying or you're pretending.
So I think the voices of those who are having a decent marriage is drowning so much. And we're hearing more of those who unfortunately had to get divorced. So I think we need to find a way to balance it. So people now have choices.
I really wish people would change, you know, how they see things and hear those who are talking about successful marriages. So a man was abusing his wife, and the matter was before me. And I looked at the two of them, weighed the options, and I saw the man was really the abusive one. So I parlayed this man. The woman who was my friend was wondering, why is she my husband's friend suddenly? So we'll be on the phone over a long time, so hours, and I'll be like, this process, trying to work him, giving him all the worst things I had done in my marriage that, you know, my husband would probably process in a different way, and only me by myself will realize that, you don't mess up. You don't goof. And then I will come. And I told him, I said, I have knelt and begged my husband a few times. I have seen that it was the most deserving thing to do, because it was made obvious to me that I'm a very messed up person. Do you understand? I said, why don't you do that? So that, you know, so she would see. And this person would be like, no, I will deny her this. He denied this woman oxygen. Ew. And he thought he was doing the right thing. We will talk. I spent hours with him, but he never saw reason. So some people, that kind of woman throws a party. I beg, she got freedom. You know?
At the end.
People, yes, those of us that share good marriages should let people know the truth. The process. I was saying to someone on that Monday in my office that, Oga, I had infertility. And the doctors told me, and my husband was the most hopeful person. He knew what he married. Do you understand? Well, if it was the other way, maybe I would not be that supportive of him. So maybe you should start to see yourself as, when you go into marriage, as giving 100%. Give.
I think I've shared this story here 100 million times on this show, where I got my husband so angry. We're arguing very, very, it was crazy. We're in our bedroom, we're arguing, shouting at the top of our voice. He went into the guest room, slammed the door. You followed? I followed him.
Yeah, I troublemaker.
And he told me, Mariel, if they burn you, will cross this line. I could see the rage in his eyes. And he said, and then Mariel said, if they burn you, they say that your mama burn you, pass this line. My brain told me, if you cross that line,
reboot and go back.
They will punch you. So I just reversed. I swallowed the ego.
Wisdom.
Which ego?
I turned back.
Wisdom.
Entered my room and slammed the door. Because I know. So, but somebody will cross that line.
And dare him.
And then they'll beat you. Now say they beat you. But you see, some of us go through that and we make choices. In this life, it's all about choices. So I guess it goes back to, yes, there are bad marriages, definitely. But there are marriages that people walk through it.
It's a process.
Which is what we're saying. That process, it wasn't all smooth in the beginning.
And so have you been you're not lying to yourself and you're not fighting.
Exactly. When you hear,
one person is lying to
I've had a blissful marriage for 12 years.
Amazing.
I've had a blissful marriage for 20 years. And your mind, these people are so, it's a lie. We are walking towards the bliss. It's not because the bliss. I remember there was a time, then I was just a year in the marriage, and my husband got back. I was supposed to do something for him, and I didn't remember to do it. An elderly friend of mine was in the house, so we're gisting when my husband came back, and he started shouting. He really was shouting. And guess what I was doing? I was When he left and went out the room, the woman knelt down for me and said, "Bisi, pray for me. I don't know what wisdom entered you to handle this marriage." I was like, "Hey, what would I have done?" He said, "If she's the one, she would have scattered the whole place. Why, how dare him shout at me?" I said, "No, I told myself that I didn't want my children to see certain things. I told myself the kind of marriage I wanted to have. So I understand that he's a shouting person. He doesn't have mind. And when I go inside, I will deal with him. But outside, I will give him that honor. Let him shout. I will be quiet when I go inside. It's me you were shouting.
I'll tell you my own story. I made a mistake on that end. Let me take this call from John. John, are you there? Go ahead, please.
Morning.
I want to, on this topic, somehow, the divorce. I met with one woman, and it depends on what, just like what Yakubu, the caller, said. When you have a woman and a man being in a relationship for a long time, I think biblically, if you divorce, you are not supposed to get married. You remain a single parent. You understand what I'm going to? Yes, in the Christian life.
Brother.
One, if a man or a woman has been maltreated, a man is maltreating a woman in a particular way, you find out that the woman is always the person that gets the brunt of it. And it's not as if I'm kind of painting the picture that a man is maltreating a man, because a man that beats, that batters a woman is, in fact, that man is not is regarded as nothing. And if such situation happens, there should be an understanding. There's always an action for a reaction. You understand? Now, if you look at the thing, if you look at the woman, there must be a reason why a man, why some kind of issue happens. There might be a problem in that relationship before before the woman says, "I want to divorce," or the man agrees to make it. It might be from the man.
Hello? Okay, it was hard to get a few things. What was it? I didn't get the point.
So it was saying that it could be, from the man, it could be from abuses from the man that would justify that celebration of divorce. Yes.
Okay, so let's take a few more tweets on this.
We have loads of tweets.
Please, go ahead. We need to take tweets. Yes.
So Toby says, in Nigeria, nobody ever posts his or her failures in life, and there are so many people who are suffering in their marriages just for what people will say. Marriage is not a route to salvation. Ibitayo Detola says, I think the issue of divorce depends on the situation at hand. Exit from toxic relationships, call for celebration, not in the concept of throwing a large party. Divorce is a terrible thing, especially when children are involved.
Abdul Karim Wafia says, we don't know what the person has gone through. I think celebrating divorce is a way of saying, I've moved on, I'm ready to explore new opportunities. Ifedola Kobayole says, not all marriages are bad, not all men are scum, not all women are scam. Marriage is a feasible institution. You can have a good one.
Dio says, let young couples follow what works for them. I'm not to stay gloomy just for the sake of being a role model.
Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Morayo.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Morayo, good morning.
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Actually, it depends on the both two families to understand marriages. Like what Obi says. Some, like what we are always saying here, and I disagree with the Yakubu, you mentioned about punching level. Some women misbehave like 99% are sure of grabbing the woman's fault. Nobody have seen it here on the program. All we are against men, either punching or attacking a woman. It's like in a situation, if you disappoint a woman, it's announced all over the whole everywhere. But when a woman disappoints a man, it's like as if opening a bottle of beer, a bottle of malt to take. Why am I coming into there? I love in a situation that my wife had a good relationship with the family. So that if anything that it comes, if I gather an evidence to tender the family, it will be a cost to her. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
God bless you too.
All right, so he reminded me of a story I know of a wife who was actually abusing her husband. And the husband was a pastor. and he felt that he was a role model to his church, and he didn't want to come out about it. So he was being very careful. But because he was living with somebody that is close to me, so he used to confide in that person, and that person has actually gone there to resolve. So I hear what he's saying, that when there are situations where the man wants to leave, he's really working hard, but because of his role as the youth pastor, he was the one in charge, he couldn't come out to say this is what is going on in his house. So there are issues like that. So if he decides to leave, should he not celebrate? If he decides to leave, should he not be feel that he has
allowed to be?
No,
be a
we're
new
not
person?
saying nobody should celebrate. We're saying be careful that you continue the trend of divorces, so that.
Or should he continue to
who have small
pretend?
issues. No,
Is
he
that another
shouldn't.
issue?
No, I don't subscribe to that. No.
Yeah.
A man is being abused in a marriage, please walk out of it before you murder somebody. A woman is being abused in marriage, please walk out of it also before you murder or be murdered by somebody. You know, I 100%.
Once there's abuse involved,
once there's abuse involved,
it's
it's time to walk. But there are certain things that we call abuse that are not even issues that, you know, we put petrol on that fire.
Like verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is
Let me explain to you.
I
I have said it on the show before.
Finish.
I am verbally provocative. If you on my fire,
You yourself are verbal abuse.
I abused my husband in the
People have
past.
divorced on the grounds of
I'm
verbal
telling
abuse.
you, what he simply did was lock himself up in a room, and I was still knocking on the door. I've not finished, say. I've not finished, and he was like, when your craze finished? And truly, only me by myself, when I dissipate my anger, I'll be looking, don't worry about
Let me take this call from Alaji's brother. Come back to you. Alaji, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Mariah. Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes, let me just appreciate Obiajuna. You know, based on the explanation, I appreciate you very well.
Thank you.
Now, you see, not every divorce worth celebration. First of all, I want you to look at an area where there's infidelity among either one of them, especially the wife. You understand? You see, and I watched a program where the woman confirmed that he divorced his husband because his husband is having a fun with his sister. You can imagine, inside the same house. So this thing has generated, and the wife cannot bear it any longer. So it led to divorce. So in that angle, it's a disgrace to the woman and disgrace to the husband. So these are areas where I can make you understand that not every divorce was celebration.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Can I go ahead? Yeah, so I quickly wrote it down so I don't forget what I wanted to say. So I don't think, she talked about people building trends. I don't think it's people should be held responsible for other people's actions. So something happens and then I go out and celebrate, and then every other young person wants to celebrate and not want to work on their marriage. I'm not responsible for that. I'm living my own life, and people should be able to know what works for them and go. So don't put it on me that because BC celebrated something that means I don't need to work on my own. I should jump out and celebrate. I think we shouldn't hold people responsible for other people's actions. I wanted to clear that. Then another thing is, what you say is not abuse to somebody is abuse to somebody else, because we have different types of abuse. We have the emotional abuse, we have the psychological abuse. These ones are even deeper than the physical abuse. They cut very deep, and it has to do with your words. When you are constantly insulting your husband and telling he's not a man, you are bringing him down psychologically. It gives him mental issues at the end of the day that leads to depression. It's even deeper than that. I told myself that my love language, number one, is words of affirmation. So if I'm in a relationship with somebody who talks down on me, there's no way we will marry. It will not work. I'll carry my bag and go. Then somebody will look and say, why is she going now? They did not even beat her. It's just insults. They insulted her. Haba. That's my own deal breaker, because that affects me psychologically.
But, okay, let's talk about that for a minute. But our parents, our mothers have worked through that verbal abuse. They've made it work where eventually the spouse then understands that, okay, this woman doesn't like this thing, or you grow a thick skin sometimes. I'm not saying it's right, but women have over time grown a thick skin to some of these verbal abuses. So are we saying that we can't even endure verbal abuses again?
Mariah,
is that what we're saying?
I do this one.
Okay.
So what is abuse to you cannot be abuse to somebody. And some group of men attacked me and said it's an abuse to them that their wives refuse to wash their clothes.
To them.
And he reached to divorce. And they were saying to her, wash clothes. Useless woman, abusive woman. You will not see man to keep you. And the woman can't come out. And she moved on to man that can buy washing machine and pay dry cleaners. Is the matter 80 again that we are carrying cutlass to go and cut?
Frank, are you there? Frank, are you there? Thanks for calling.
You will fall down, my
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah. I love the program so much.
Thank you.
Let me comment on this thing. We Africans have forgotten our culture, the African culture. We have forgotten about it. Yeah, my mom is a Ghanaian, my father is a Nigerian. So what is happening in our world? We are practicing Western culture, and that is what is bringing our marriages down. The African culture has been forgotten, and we are building on Western world culture, and that is the program we are having right now. If you want to be arguing with me, for instance, go to United Arab Emirates, or go to Kano, or go to Kaduna. How many marriages are collapsing? Because the women are obeying their husbands. But we that are practicing.
Okay, so thank you, Frank, for that, because that's really where we disagree. This is where we Southerners somewhat disagree. Because a woman is obedient, subservient, and doesn't mean she's happy. Doesn't mean she's having a good marriage. Because I decided to be quiet and grow a thick skin and swallow it in, doesn't mean I'm happy. Because where we are now is, how do women live quality, fulfilling lives, which our parents probably never did.
Let me put it for you the way I usually put it. I think she stayed married waiting for her gratuity so that her work will not be in vain. So
say that again, please.
She stayed married now waiting for her gratuity so that her work will not be in vain.
Which is her children, Abi?
So I know a woman, 30 years. Her divorce happened when her marriage was 30 years. Imagine. This woman, when we have already called mommy, everybody's looking up to her. She just woke up one morning
and said she was done.
I'm done. She stayed for her kids. She stayed for society. She was done with all of that. She took, and as soon as her business was established, so thank you. You can go and bring your mother now. That man did not last 5 years. He was, as in, he's used to that life of abuse. She will cater to him, do everything to him. Do you understand? I see that one I saw. So what is important is not how long you stay in a marriage or what you had to do to. I think
how well
spouses should start to see each other as humans. And I'm advocating it a lot on my people. If you like, come to my Facebook today, you don't have
insult you.
I have time. You understand? I will write what I like. The truth is, men should start to see women too as complete humans that deserve fulfillment and happiness. So if her choice is to be happy, like I love catering to my husband, cooking his food every day. Fine. Because I cannot wash clothes. Mothers should not fall from heaven.
So our mothers didn't really glow.
No, they didn't. And a lot of them suffered in that marriage silently because they were not empowered to take a walk. So they stayed. You know, the way the system was then, you were mostly dependent on the man. So they stayed because they wanted to be able to cater for the children. They wanted to be able to feed. They wanted to be able to do a lot of things in that marriage. And the way the society pegged it, if you do not have a roof over your head, that's a covering. You don't have a crown. You are being looked down upon. And so they just had to maintain that status, not because they were happy. Now, the women of these days are saying, we can't do this. So it has to be... You know, you have to respect me and I respect you. And if we can't work together, it's okay for one person to say, I'm done and I can go. And then people are sitting back to say, our mothers of those days, you are not taking...
I don't know their mothers.
I believe in working through your marriage. I believe in saying that we are in this together. My husband will say, I don't have money to marry another wife. We are in this together. We are going to work it out. Except it now gets to a point where we cannot. And it's okay.
Okay, let's take a few tweets.
So I wanted to respond that, you know, women of those days, my mother is women of those days. And the money for her is tough. Because, you know, she sees a large part of herself. She says, how do you put almost 45 years under the carpet? How do you change? So there was something that my father would regularly do. They go shopping together. And I was saying to my brother, just drive the woman around now. Later, just buy tomatoes and come home. And she looked at me like I was stupid. So if you honor your person, when you are gone, they will miss you like your oxygen. There's nothing difficult there. These are our mothers. And all my life, till I took over cooking. I saw my mother cook for her husband. No big deal. But he was washing.
I think I'd like to end with, we have to run. I would like to end with what Nima has said. You know, many of our mothers waited for their gratuity. I would say my mother probably is one of those because today her joy is that, okay, her children are doing well. So she's receiving. So, yes, she suffered. Not because my daddy did anything. She didn't suffer, but well, I wouldn't say suffer. That's the wrong word.
Let me bust your
She
bubble.
endured a lot of maybe. She didn't get the attention should have liked just because the other wives, the other activities.
Let me bust your bubble. Some people left and their children are doing well.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah, well, that's true. So, but the point is that
No, I just say
she
whatever
and
works
the
for you.
gratuity for many mothers that stayed back
Yeah.
is because their children are doing well today. And I think on that note, we have to wrap up. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. For now.